There was a fight that went on, silly people between Man Crab and Washerwoman, and then Man Crab killed Washerwoman between the night and then going into the morning. That is when you saw me being carried. So I was dead. And Man Crab took over all the people, and there was very few followers for Washerwoman. Fine? And that is where you get all the colors on Carnival Tuesday. The fact that I was dead, no, it didn't bother me too much. At first I thought it was something funny to be dead and yet still you're there up around. But yes, I think it's a part of Carnival. Because you're telling the people what actually happened. So what, it's Carnival, big deal, but you're still telling a story. And it doesn't matter how you really tell it once it's being told.
I believe that the trilogy in intent and concept was good. I believe it has no place in Carnival per se. If we were to think of Carnival as being something where people enjoy themselves, where there's gay abandon, where there's revelry, you cannot come to terms with the fact that what trilogy demonstrates or depicts or portrays, that it is not congruous with Carnival as we know it. We need something where for 2 days at least we should forget our troubles, our domestic financial troubles, the world as it is for those 2 days. If a message such as the one that the trilogy intended to portray or portrayed, if such a message is to be portrayed, I believe there are other fora which this could be done and can be done very effectively, because in essence the concept is good, and I have no quarrel whatsoever with the creativity of Mr. Minshall. In fact, my belief is that creativity is priceless, but I believe that one must choose the correct forum on which one can portray a particular message. The message of doom and gloom is not intended for Carnival.
I cannot conceive of a Carnival season starting without his detractors springing up like weeds all over again. But they're important. Their importance, I believe, allows Minshall to express himself, and the depth at which he speaks at times, I think is due to the fact that there are people who attempt to define Carnival. The problem with all of this, which makes it meaningless in terms of its validity, is that Carnival cannot be defined. Carnival is like an exquisite piece of chinaware that shatters on the ground, and you can look at it and you can see the pieces of its brilliance, of its form, and yet you know that you cannot put it together. You can never put it together. Carnival is the same way. You cannot define Carnival. You cannot put it together. You have to experience people in their expression of democracy, to love Carnival, to be part of that.
If River was a universal plea to mankind astride his technological monster, to pull on the reins and forestall impending doom, the story of Callaloo, the trilogy's second work, was an audacious allegorical statement on the creation. With Man-Crab as Satan, Washerwoman as the Virgin Mary, Callaloo of course as Christ, and his disciples calling themselves Moon People, indeed the players all depicted an abstract lunar quality using the circle as the unifying element, Little wonder this band proved even harder to digest as mass and fun than its predecessor.
In the case of Callaloo, where, of course, Callaloo means so much to all of us. And here again, and of course, throughout his work, it's so heavy with symbolism. You have Callaloo, which means so much to all of us. Even the physical mixture of Callaloo, so within that is embedded the whole concept of unity. And then he takes a Callaloo leaf, which he says is heart-shaped. Now, I don't know if you'd noticed that before, but I certainly had never noticed that the Callaloo leaf was heart-shaped. And to use that as a symbol of love and unity. And to play upon the inherent force of Carnival as this unifying force, and to use that to say we are people who represent all different racial and ethnic groups, and therefore we should mix up. And that to mix up means that we can then combine our various spirits, our powers, and through that fight the external powers that threaten us.
Callaloo developed the river theme and broadened it somewhat from purely ecological concerns into the basic problem as faced by the world today, the simplicity, the brother loves brother, the togetherness of man in the face of a possible nuclear holocaust. Man crab, having defeated washerwoman, finds that her son, who is the son of love, and every man, he is not black, white, green, or blue. He is every man. He is the symbol of man's love for man. It is the one thing that man crab now has to defeat, to find total power, and to defeat the son of washerwoman, who is every man. Man crab sires a daughter with the help of science, and he names her Hiroshima.
At the Sunday Evening King competition, Samuel showed that he could dance on water as well, while ratcheting designing techniques and masquerading moves to a seemingly unattainable level of fine art and non-parai respect. Topping off the structure with a mirrored African headpiece, he called the presentation Callaloo Dancing Tic-Tac-Toe Down the River.
It was the lightest costume I've ever carried. It wasn't the easiest costume to carry, but it was the lightest by far. Because it is just basic, as I said, pound-wise, pound for was about 40 pounds, if that much. It felt more like that because it was strapped onto my feet to restrict the movement, but weight-wise, it was the lightest costume I ever carried. Materials, strictly fiberglass, plastic netting, and Roscoe paper. Cost of the costume can vary anything. I could safely say one of my cheapest costumes would have been about $4,000 or $5,000. But the most expensive would have been about $30,000. So they vary, right? Peter has been known to produce a very large, cheap king costume, which is very hard to do. Cost-wise, I don't put out any money personally. The committee, the band committee, they pay for the costume. Peter Minshall does the designs, we do the building, the manufacturing of the costume. Whatever prize money we win, we share between us. But the prize money you get for the time and effort and money you put out is, I would say, 1/8 of what you put out. So anybody from any band who plays king or queen, they do it strictly for the love of it. There's no money making in king or queen.
The Queen contest provided drama of a different sort. Coelho's "I've seen the bird of paradise. She has spread herself before me, and I shall never be the same again," a quotation from British writer R.D. Lang, ensured a double victory for Minshall on Carnival Sunday.
When we started out, well, we did fishing pole rods with fiberglass, and you have to weigh each one because not each one is the same weight and length. So when they did that, they got my weight against that, and then they used silk material, which is very, very light, so that wasn't very much. And all they did